It don't matter the color of the skin, either woman or man, just let the case land. It's here, it's in safe hands. This is God work, not a fake plan. Too many kids being found in these lakes, man. This is MTGV, and you with Miss V. She keep her ear to the streets.
Welcome in, everybody. So I wanted to come in and see what's going on with this shooter. It's a lot of stuff moving. So they arrested a guy that she been in contact with.
This filing, the local FBI office detained Alexander Paffendorf on Tuesday. It says he had been messaging with Samantha Rupnow. According to this filing,
so this guy is 20 years old. I believe that this is the same guy that's on. I believe this is the same guy that's on Twitter, posing as her boyfriend. So there is a picture of him on Twitter. It's saying that Alexander Paffendorf texts Natalie in an alleged plan to coordinate an attack on a government building during the unaliving. Hold on, see what they talking about. So who is Alex? Alex is number one, 20 years old, and this girl was 15 years old, so they shouldn't have never been talking. But he was actually, it sounds like he has some influence over her. Now, this article is coming from, it was on the 19th, and it says a 20-year-old man from Carlsbad, California, on suspicion of conspiring with Samantha Rupnow, the 15-year-old shooter at a Christian school. They have a picture here. FBI investigators revealed that Alexander allegedly planned to carry out a mass shooting targeting a government building, coordinating his actions with Rupnow attack earlier this week. According to an emergency gun violence restraining order received by Milwaukee Senator, the FBI discovered incriminating messages exchanged between them. During an interview with the agents, Alexander reportedly admits to discussing plans to arm himself with explosives and firearms to target a government building. Let's just hear this. I ain't got all day. I gotta go. What are we talking about?
To this filing, the local FBI office detained Alexander Paffendorf on Tuesday. It says he had been messaging with Samantha Rupnow, the 15-year-old who shot a teacher and 3 students at Abundant Life Christian School on Monday. The teacher and 1 student died. The filing says he admitted to FBI agents that he told Rupnow he would arm himself with explosives and a gun to target a government building. The filing did not specify which building he was targeting. Late Tuesday night, a judge approved a gun violence emergency protective order. Minutes after the approval, police saw the notice at Paffendorf's home in Carlsbad. He was ordered to give up his guns and ammunition within 48 hours. The Carlsbad Police Department filed the protective order. Lieutenant Katie Lynch from the La Mesa Police Department says officers only file these requests when there is a credible threat.
GVROs are just one tool that we can use to hopefully take firearms out of the possession of somebody who may be a threat until there can be more information. It can be looked at by a judge. Obviously, taking weapons is it's a serious thing, and so it's just one piece of the puzzle that comes into play that allows law enforcement to keep people safe.
The La Mesa Police Department is not a party to this case. The FBI's San Diego office says the Madison Police Department is taking the lead on this investigation and that they are not aware of any ongoing threats associated with this matter in Wisconsin or California.
According to court documents, FBI agents saw the messages between Paffendorf and Rupnow. Those messages have not been released. A court hearing on the emergency protective order is scheduled for January 3rd. Alexander Nguyen, KPPS News.
So arrested on Tuesday, court on January 3rd, and I'm just now finding out that they even arrested a guy.
Well, and now to our continuing coverage of Monday's mass shooting at Abundant Life Christian School in Madison. And little by little, we are getting more details about the victims and the suspected shooter.
Yeah, we've known for a while now that the suspect was a 15-year-old student at the school, Natalie.
we now know the very latest details that are now coming out that this 15-year-old was in contact with another man from California. He's a 20-year-old man from the Carlsbad area. And right now we do want to bring into the conversation now retired FBI agent Scott Duffy to just learn a bit more about this suspected shooter and what things are now going on. Thanks so much for being with us here on Live Now.
Yeah, good evening, Christina. Thank you for having me on.
Okay, I just want to start with, of course, we now know that the FBI has talked to this 20-year-old man there in California just to learn a bit more about what his connection was to the 15-year-old shooter. How are FBI agents now going to be able to utilize this information to learn a bit more about the shooter and her intents?
Yeah, and this is what's fantastic across the board with regards to training for active shooters and then the investigation aspect with bringing in the federal partners to do deep dives into the digital media footprint, whatever the shooter might have left behind. So with regards to this piece of information regarding another individual who is presumably spoken to already by the FBI, and so even though there's very little information coming out about to what extent, to what has taken place, we know that that there was a civil order going with the state law for California, right, to get rid of, in order for law enforcement to be able to take away guns during investigative time. So this is what we get to see, just how these young individuals who go out and seek out to do these horrible things, that they are in conversation, if not conspiring with somebody else, leaving information out there for the public or for close ones. It may or may not be missed. And we are seeing here unfold is possibly another individual several states away, who somehow, some way, law enforcement is going to find out how they connected. And so it'd be interesting to see what exactly law enforcement found on the phone through some sort of messaging. What was it that happened that morning or several hours leading up to between this individual and, of course, the shooter in Wisconsin? And that decides this imminent factor of what could be taking place in California.
And Scott, I have to ask you, of course, when they spoke to him, he did say that they had been in conversation. Does that mean that he can potentially be charged with whatever evidence? What would it take for them to fully link him to this crime, to consider him a co-conspirator?
Yeah, so not only what he had said to the FBI during that interview, which looks like it took place at some point on Monday, but also corroborating everything with regards to the messaging that had already been put out between them. So is this individual a like-minded individual where he is simply talking about doing something with no actionable plan, no hard location, simply talking about doing something? Was he conversing, texting, whatever it is, how they were messaging each other, where he was egging her on? Did she provide information to him that he could have then interceded by calling law enforcement? All these things are going to be hashed out and determine, is he a co-conspirator, a collaborator in the Wisconsin shooting? Or is he simply a like-minded individual where they're sharing thoughts and through their own troubles, but possibly could be charged with something that, especially as they uncover more of his digital media and what he might have put out there with regards to a plan. So a plan is going to be needed here, and some sort of execution of that plan, perhaps getting a weapon, etc. So that's ultimately what the FBI will be investigating, to see what he did in order to exasperate, if anything, with Wisconsin, and then, of course, California, and whatever he was talking about, potential threat would be looked in harder as well.
Scott, that's where I was going next with my next question. Alexander Paffendorf, that's the name of this 20-year-old. He also said that he was planning to target a government building at the time. Right now, at least has not been released to us which government building that was. But he did say that he had sort of an idea that that's what he wanted to do. Can he be charged just for admitting that as well?
It goes a little bit more. There is that freedom of speech, and we can, whether it be a hate speech, whether it be I want to go do something, people, especially young people, they believe through these apps and this messaging that, and through social media, that is simply venting anger and displeasure of one thing or another. So there really has to be a little bit more than just, hey, I'm going to go do something. There has to be some sort of action. Perhaps he goes out and purchases a weapon rather recently, or acquires whatever he is, some sort of explosive material, or he's communicating with somebody, putting together a plan, let's say an undercover or somebody that then told law enforcement, hey, this person wants to do harm, and said they're going to do it to this building or one of these buildings. You then start to put together that this goes well beyond the freedom of speech, that somebody is putting together an actionable plan, and that they have an intent to execute that plan. Then charges most likely can be levied with those in play.
Now, Scott, are you able to speak to how the FBI seeks to prevent these things from happening? Of course, we know there's a network of, it's always see something, say something, of course, relying on the public's help. But how else is the FBI able to track down potential shooters across the country and intervene before a tragedy like this occurs?
Yeah, and often this is like that needle in a haystack. You're talking about social media. Now, granted, the FBI.
The FBI is continuing to investigate the Carlsbad man accused of communicating with the Madison, Wisconsin school shooter and plotting a separate attack. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Kimber, communicating with the Madison.
So here is some of the things that they're saying, and I'm gonna read some of the manifesto too, that I didn't read before. But since more is coming out, and I'm trying to figure out why her parents is not locked up yet. I mean, she was wearing clothes that represents a mass shooter, and whoever was taking a picture of her should have known what was going on with their child. Like, this is something, I mean, I didn't know what this was when I first seen it, but this is what they are saying, what has since been found out. But it says the FBI detained the 20-year-old man for plotting this mass government building in conjunction. He was planning this government building shooting. And you just heard him say, like, any solid evidence, any real plans. But I really think, I'm not sure, but I think this might be the same guy that's on Twitter or X or whatever, posing as her boyfriend. And so I mean, I wonder, how does she know this guy? Not to mention that she had not one but two weapons. How did she even get in there in it? The other part that I found strange, I mean, the similarities between her and Claude Gray. Okay, same as Claude. She had just started going to the school. These people didn't know her. I mean, she had just started going in like August, I think they said. It was a little bit too late to be putting her in a Christian school. We heard her complain about her parents being scum and being being married several times. I find out they've been married and divorced 3 times. She said that didn't help. Her mother tried to do overdose herself a couple times, or at least once. So during the FBI interview, this Alexander admitted to the FBI agents that he told Rupnow that he would arm himself with explosives and a gun, and that he would target a government building. Reads the 2-page restraining order from Carlsbad police. So the order said the FBI agent saw the messages from this Alexander and Samantha. So a San Diego Superior Court judge approved the restraining order on Tuesday. December 17th at 8:51 p.m. Not long after the judge signed the order, Alexander, Carlsbad neighbors saw more than a dozen cars enter the complex. They had their full guns out all over the street. Alexander Gallegos told CBS. There were cops, I'd say about 15. Let me see. Let me let this play and I'm going to pull up the manifesto.
Wisconsin school shooter and plotting a separate attack. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt. Well, the man was detained one day after a 15-year-old opened fire at Abundant Life Christian School, killing a student and a teacher. ABC 10 News reporter Madison W is joining us. Madison, the man has not been arrested or charged with a crime yet.
Yeah, Kim, we've uncovered disturbing details about this 20-year-old man here in Carlsbad and his relationship with this teen shooter in Madison, Wisconsin. Court documents show in the messages between the two that he may have been plotting his own attack and that he lives here in this quiet Carlsbad neighborhood. Just one day after the deadly school shooting in Madison, Wisconsin, court documents revealing the Carlsbad Police Department requested a gun violence restraining order against a 20-year-old Carlsbad man under the state's red flag law. The order required the Carlsbad man to turn over any guns and ammunition to police and show he told the FBI that he had been messaging Natalie Rupnow, the 15-year-old Wisconsin shooter, about attacking a government building with a gun and explosives.
This is exactly the way that gun violence restraining orders are supposed to work.
Ron Marcus with the group San Diegans for Gun Violence Prevention, commending law enforcement for their quick action to keep the community safe.
Time was of the essence when you had this imminent threat of targeting a government building with explosives and guns that this person had confessed to in communications with another mass shooter. They had to move really quickly to make sure that they could prevent that.
While the man's identity has been made public, ABC 10 News is not naming the 20-year-old suspect at this time because he has not been arrested and has not been charged with a crime. Those court documents suggest guns were not found when the man was questioned. But Marcus says without the gun violence restraining order, law enforcement wouldn't have been able to investigate as quickly as they did, pushing for similar preventative and protective measures nationwide.
May we never become numb to the daily shootings that are occurring in this country.
We are working on getting additional details from the FBI. I've asked them to clarify how the two knew each other and on what platform the two were communicating. As soon as we have those details, we'll bring them to you here. We do know that the man is due in court in January. From Carlsbad tonight, Madison Weil, ABC 10 News.
Madison, thank you for the live reporting.
Stunning new developments, a local tie here in San Diego County to the deadly school shooting in Madison, Wisconsin this week.
Federal agents detained a 20-year-old.
Okay, so they detained him, but they didn't arrest him. What are we talking about? So I'm going to just read this manifesto. It says that, and this is coming from that Slacksism channel on Twitter. So it says, I've looked into him since the late, I don't know, wait, this is how this starts. But I'm going to go back. I'm going to go here. It says, I've always been a quiet kid, I'd say. Or at least that's what everyone else around me has said. Hold on, it's kind of small. And never really had... Goodness gracious, why is this so dark? Hold on. Cut the lights up in here. Okay, it says, I've always been a quiet kid, I say, or at least that's what everyone else around me has said, and never really had the brains for most things because I wasn't smart enough for people around me, even though I'm good in science and some stuff. Nobody really liked me in a good way in elementary or middle school, nor even high school. Right now, doesn't matter much because I like being alone. Sometimes I just hate being picked on, but yet I mourn for friends, but sooner than later they'll leave. My therapist sucks. He's just some weak and fat guy who doesn't deserve everything he has now. Nobody deserves anything good. My so-called friends never included me because I was too weird for them. My father never treated me with respect. My father will always make sure he makes me stand out in the worst possible way. Bring up how I fell in school or couldn't get out of bed simply because I don't want to leave. He make me look like a freak to his friends and family. He says so much, but look at his bad side. My parents divorced quite a few times, which didn't help me at all. But did not help me at all. But not did it really affect me. This is what it say. It just made me a little more lonely because nobody was there for me and never really has been. My mother tried overdosing when I was 12 or something. I don't care if she would have survived or died from it, but yet she was still here. Doesn't mean she actually was in my life. I see my parents as failures for everything they've done to me, just kind of effing with my life. There never was helpful advice given to me. It was all bullshit. The world itself is bullshit. To be fair, though, so why should I or you see so much in it? I've never really liked my father, to be exact, because to be honest, why should I? Our hate is mutual for each other. He would never see me as his daughter. He would never love me like he loved his ex or ex-kids or even alcohol. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore because nobody heard me out, just made fun of me my entire life, and I'm sick of it. I've been trapped and forced into my corner. I hate this corner that I'm stuck in. I hate humanity for forcing me into this little hole. I once had this time when I was young. You made me dig for so long, and now I can't leave it, but only look up at your smiles and laughs at me. I honestly don't remember how old I was. I know I was young, but yet I remember everything that still happened because it happened every once in a while. I'm hearing that she lived with her father too. They were back and forth, marrying 3 times and getting divorced and not being able to get it right. Now, everything is alleged that I'm reading, so never have I once brought up this to my therapist, anyone, because nobody cares that time nor will now. I saw things around me and I laid on the floor, not being able to move. I was overwhelmed and tired. Hard breath. Things around me felt bigger than usual, and I was faint. Once in a while, I get that same feeling, just I know how to control it. That one night, I begged for my mother to help me, but she was in the next room to me, in her apartment, where she was with her boyfriend, awake, because all I heard was her walking right past me and my room. I was the wrong child of the family. My parents admit they didn't want me, nor never did anything if I've grown. My parents admit they didn't want me, nor never did anything if I've grown. I'm always the one who sat out and sat in the middle of the floor. I'm the one who sat out and sat in another room because they didn't want to interact with me at any point in time. Then I stayed in my room all day, during the day and night, and after and before school as well. Well, damn. Doesn't help that school was pain. It doesn't help that school was a pain in my ass while getting teased and pushed around. I always got picked on for being out of pocket, as if quietness was out of pocket for them or just too odd for something. I moved schools What's already happening? Picked on again, just not any worse. This sounds a lot like that caught gray. I know this happen anywhere and any time in my life. But it's annoying. I'm starting to realize you will all die and perish and be forgotten in 20 years or less. Your family, this person hated everything, mostly her life. You know, perhaps this hatred should have been taken out at home or maybe nowhere, but definitely not that school and those innocent people who had nothing to do with this. And I don't believe she was picked on in school. Maybe in her other schools. But I'm starting to realize you will all die and perish and be forgotten about in 20 years or less. Your family will think you are a disappointment, as hate I have for you now isn't enough. As the hate I have for you now isn't enough. I want the hate to tear you apart. Hold on. So your family will think you are disappointed, as I hate as the hate I have for you now isn't enough. I want the hate to tear you apart, but yet won't happen because you are the reason hate is a thing and will always continue to be a thing. I am not hate. I am simply pointing this out. You and the system will always suck. Therefore, we need revolution. Nobody understands that, though. Nor do people understand the fact that they probably sat next to me in class and never thought a single word about me, nor ever really thought to. I don't really care, though, to be honest. Nobody really has. The wolf hunts, is praised, and continues life with no other abuses or scars, no other bruises or scars. There is no predator and prey anymore. It is all filth walking up there, nothing more with filth. It simply cannot die or make hunt real. Only they want is valued. Only they want is valued. Finally, one learns that boredom is a disease of civilization. Hold on. And then this part just says, I've looked into him since like late 2021 to 2022, and I've just realized how much potential BOMBS have. But it's not just that thought, it's his strategy, his own method, and what led him to do it, and the fact that he stuck to that. Some of his fangirls are like really strange, though, in my opinion, but aren't like all fangirls. Yeah, I guess she was a fangirl. So there are also, and this manifesto is coming from that you see on the picture. This is where it's coming from. And so what I wondered, well, this person said they got it from a boyfriend. And I'm thinking the boyfriend is the guy, Alexander, that they have in custody right now. Okay, so hold on. But it's not just like that though. His strategy, his own method, and what led him to do it, and the fact that he stuck to it. Some of his fangirls are like really strange though, in my opinion, but aren't like all fangirls. Yeah, like you. There are also others that I admire. So I don't know who she was talking about right there. So because this is just bits and pieces, it was only 4 pages put out. And so there are also others that I admire, or so I'd like to say, look up to, and I find interesting. Otherwise, most are interesting to me, unlike those retarded FAG fucks who simp over them. Like, come on, just stop. Like Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, Patrick Wood. I don't know none of these people. Plus many more. Anyway. When she started it, she said, "My name is Samantha Rupnow. 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 I was born, hold on, November 7th of 2009, exactly 2 years after Pika's attack. Incredible, am I?" And maybe this is who she's talking about. "Nobody knows I'm doing this. I got the weapons by lies and manipulation and my father's stupidity. I planned on shooting myself a while ago, but thought maybe it's better for evolution rather than just one stupid, boring, self-unaliving, which hopefully I'll reach that point. I planned this myself and nobody else. I act alone. There would have been no way to change what has happened. You can't and would never, you can't and you never will know. You never cared too much to know nothing about me. I'm glad you don't." Okay, let me finish letting this play.
Old Carlsbad man. They say he was communicating with the Wisconsin teen who killed 2 people before turning the gun on herself on Monday. NBC7 Shelby Bremer joins us now from Carlsbad with the latest. Shelby.
Yeah, Catherine and Mark, this is the neighborhood where Alexander Pfaffendorf lives. He's not been charged with any crime, but court records show that FBI agents and Carlsbad police came here Tuesday after allegedly discovering that he had been exchanging messages with that Madison shooter. Now, neighbors tell us that they're shocked by this news, but not surprised. 20-year-old Alexander Pfaffendorf of Carlsbad is now at the center of a federal investigation into a deadly school shooting 2,000 miles away. This gun violence emergency protective order, issued by a judge Tuesday, shows FBI agents detained Pfaffendorf after he was, quote, discovered plotting a mass shooting with the Madison, Wisconsin shooter, Natalie Rupnow. Police say Rupnow opened fire at Abundant Life Christian School on Monday, killing a teacher and a fellow student, wounding 6 others before killing herself. The order requiring Pfaffendorf to surrender any weapons says agents saw messages he had exchanged with Rupnow. Pfaffendorf.
Wait a minute, what did I say? They stopped and detained Alexander after he was discovered plotting a mass shooting with Madison, Wisconsin shooter Natalie. During an FBI interview, he admitted to the FBI agents that he told Rupnow that he would arm himself with explosives and a gun, and that he would target a government building. FBI saw the messages from Dorfin to Rupnow. Yeah, I'm sure this the guy
with Rupnow. Pfaffendorf
giving the other guy, this Slatsism guy, this Manifesto.
Quote, admitted to the FBI agents that he told Rupnow that he would arm himself with explosives and a gun and that he would target a government building, the order says. Pfaffendorf has not been charged with any crime. The FBI, the Department of Justice, and Carlsbad police all declined to comment.
I was shocked, but not shocked.
This neighbor, who asked not to be identified, said Pfaffendorf lived with his father and described him as reclusive.
Wore a hood all the time, never looked up, no eye contact ever in all the years of living here.
He said the community had speculated before.
Well, it didn't surprise me. There were conversations along the way, nothing that was direct, just, wow, the way he acts, he could end up doing something stupid.
Another neighbor said he saw more than a dozen agents and officers descend on the home Tuesday.
A couple hours into it, towards the end, they're carrying out a big black box. Looked like a gun case of some sort.
He too said Pfaffendorf kept to himself and hasn't been spotted here since.
I've only seen him a few times. He's real quiet. Just see him walk to his car and back, say hello. That's about it.
The district attorney's office tells us they're not involved in any case that involves Pfaffendorf. That protective order is held until Monday, and there's a hearing on that January 3rd. Reporting live in Carlsbad, Shelby Bremer, NBC7.
Thank you, Shelby.
Yeah, several days ago, people was posting this guy. Let me screenshot this.
And we continue to learn new information about the Madison school shooting.
Authorities now say the teen who killed his student and teacher managed to bring 2 guns inside the building. Stephanie Quirk joins us live as we're finding out some details about a possible California connection.
Yeah, Ben, Kim, we are live tonight outside that growing memorial for those 2 victims identified by the medical examiner's office as 14-year-old Ruby Vergara and 42-year-old Aaron West. Now, we've also learned that the shooter possibly was in contact with a man in California who the Associated Press reports was planning an attack of his own. Madison police removed the crime scene tape outside Abundant Life Christian School Thursday, but the pain still remains.
The children educators, they saw things they never should have seen. We know we've lost lives.
Police say 15-year-old Natalie Rupnow opened fire at the school Monday, killing 2 people and injuring 6 others before she took her own life. We've also learned Rupnow brought 2 guns to the school. The AP reported she was in contact with a man from California who messaged her that he was planning to attack a government building.
There are families who will never be whole again because of what happened on Monday.
At a growing memorial outside the school, one community member came to pay her respects, but didn't want to show her face on camera. Her reason why?
These are the people that deserve the attention, not anybody else.
The medical examiner says 14-year-old Ruby Vergara was the student killed in the attack. 42-year-old Aaron West, a substitute coordinator at the school, also died in the shooting.
This is where the question of when is enough going to ever be enough and change going to happen.
While the community tries to heal.
When tragedy strikes, I think it's always so jarring.
Dane County United Way has since created a fund to help the school and families recover.
Currently, we have over $67,000 raised.
It's just one way people can support the families during the unthinkable.
Madison is another community that has experienced.
So these are some of the people that she praised.
New details are emerging today about the teenager who killed a teacher and a student at her school. Social media accounts believed to be linked to 15-year-old Natalie Rupnow suggest a fascination with previous school shooters, including Parkland High School gunman Nicholas Cruz. And look at this photo of Natalie Rupnow skeet shooting. She's wearing
Y'all see that? That shirt.
A t-shirt for the little-known German band KMFDM. The gunman from the Columbine massacre also wore KM.
So so this is something that I was wondering. Who took the picture when she was at the range? Her parents don't know what she wears. She don't. TBZ, you here? You probably already got that, but I ain't on that side. But her parents don't pay attention to what she does. I mean, clearly. She showed signs, and she had not 1 but 2 weapons. Where did they come from? Who gave them to her?
FDM t-shirts.
Columbine, for lack of a better way of saying it. I think that for some shooters now, that was sort of the gold standard. There were so many lives that were lost in that. And for some people, I think that's part of the fascination of it.
In an online document written by Natalie Rupnow, the troubled teen says she hates society and is, quote, glad to be different. She has also been described as very isolated at her school, Abundant Life Christian, which she only started attending in August. Her parents have reportedly married and divorced each other 3 times.
These are her parents. She said her dad is scum. And the way that she was talking didn't sound too good. I seen this picture on this page. This is her back here. And they looking back at her. I'm just trying to figure out why they ain't locked up yet. I mean, she talked just in a few pages that I read. She talked a whole lot about them. He'll never see me as his daughter. And I lay there and I remember, and my mom didn't help me. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about? Will be interesting.
Candlelight vigils were held at the Wisconsin State Capitol and at the school last night as a quiet community deals with the aftermath of a terrible tragedy.
So they thought taking her to a range was the
could
thing.
hear bodies hitting the floor. My great niece across the hall.
Oh yeah, that's what they should have did.
Monday's deadly shooting at Abundant Life Christian School left 2 people dead. 6.
So yeah, here's the picture that I see. Now I seen this a couple days ago. Somebody had posted. Thank you. These people ignorant. Nobody was in the chat but ignorance. I probably don't have no thumbs up because everybody's just watching from the clouds. Welcome, y'all. Please subscribe to the channel and hit the thumbs up. That would be great. So this is a picture that was circulating a couple days ago. They covered his face, but they was already on it, you know. But this is the picture that the news is releasing, and then a couple more, you know, pictures that they have since released. But yeah, I just wanted to come in and see what was going on with that. I definitely got to get going. So again, thank y'all for tuning in. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel if you have not. And we'll be live later on today. We're going to be keeping up with everything. And everything going on with also Luigi, which is described as a movie. Those events that we seen, if you didn't check out my live stream earlier from him being extradited and all of that. And also we talked about Amazon and how the drones are going to be taking over and throwing packages all around. But yeah, it's a lot moving and shaking in the world, and we paying attention over here. So please be sure to subscribe. Please subscribe and press that notification bell and thumbs up. Thank you for sharing me. Thank you for sharing me. Thank you for sharing me. For sharing me. For sharing me. For sharing me. Thank you for sharing me. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Awesome, good members emoji. Thank y'all for hitting those reactions. Peace and love, y'all. We out.